Victory Monday, and the Lions have it going on, and it's not just Jared Goff, it's everybody.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome in, everybody. It's another week of Locked On Lions right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Matt Derry with you on a Monday, Victory Monday, October 21st, and a Tuesday, October 22nd. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for checking us out wherever you get your podcasts. A shout out to our everydayers who are out there that watch and listen to the program. One of our everydayers is our call of the day, which we will play for you later on in the program today. You can find us on Twitter at Derry Speaks, at Locked On Lions, Matt Derry Facebook fan page. And of course, please subscribe and check us out on our Locked On Lions YouTube channel. The program today is brought to you by Hillsdale College. Go right now to hillsdale.edu/lockedon to enroll. There's no cost and it's easy to get started. How about that win yesterday? We did a little Sunday pod yesterday, but Lions 31, Vikings 29. Jake Bates hitting the field goal to win it. And the Lions are in first place again in the NFC North at 5-1. And I hope, and I actually, it's not even a hope. I know how Lion fans are feeling here on a Monday. You should feel really good about this football team. I'm getting texts. Zach Zaidman, longtime Bears sideline reporter, now does the middle innings for the Cubs on the radio. Is a very good friend of mine and is in Chicago. And even he's texting me like, man, the Lions have built something special there. You're seeing it across the country nationally, especially after going into Dallas and winning, going into Minnesota and handing the Vikings their first loss. You're doing this yesterday without arguably your best player. Offense, defense, whatever. You could make the argument that Aiden Hutchinson is the best player on the Lions team. Heck, there was a stat put out today. The Lions had 15 pressures in yesterday's game. 15, that's it. Aiden Hutchinson had 15 himself in the Seattle game, I believe, alone in one game. So there's going to be that discussion. What are they going to do about it? Should they go get Myles Garrett? The Browns are a mess. What about Max Crosby? That's going to go on until November 5th. But soak it in on this Victory Monday as to how good this franchise is right now. Think about being in Charlotte and having to talk about the Carolina Panthers, who got spanked yesterday by Marcus Mariota and the Commanders. Think about what's going on in Cleveland right now, where you had fans, some fans, not all, some fans booing the quarterback who was down on the, cheering, I should say, the quarterback who was injured and tore his Achilles. And then you got the players in the post game basically calling Watson a martyr and making him out like that's a mess in Cleveland right now. They're 1-6. 1-6. We know what's going on in Dallas after the Lions embarrass the Cowboys and the owner goes on the radio and is threatening to fire the radio host. None of that's happening here. All that's happening here is winning. And they're winning the right way. Think about yesterday, and we're going to get to the Pro Football Focus grades, the PFF grades. We're going to talk about Jared Goff for MVP. We got our SpeakPipe call of the day. You go to our SpeakPipe voicemail system, speakpipe.com/Derry podcast page, and leave a voicemail. We will play you that in a moment. But let's talk about yesterday for a second. And the fact remains, the Lions do something better than everybody in the league. And that's why they're 5-1. And yes, Kansas City's undefeated. Chiefs still are there. They're the standard. As Mike Tomlin would say, the standard is the standard. They're the gold standard. Maybe the Lions will play the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. It's not out of the realm of possibility. But what the Lions do better than anybody is basic, fundamental football, blocking and tackling. It's so funny. Some of you work in an office and they talk about culture and they talk about this idea and this thing to do and your rocks for the quarter if you use EOS. I'm digging deep here business-wise. Issues and what are our company ideals? What are our themes? All of these things. But sometimes it just comes down to the basics. Blocking and tackling. You could have the best receiver in the league like Justin Jefferson is. You could have unbelievable quarterback play. You can have the best looking uniforms, best coach to ever do it. New England Patriots the last few years, you know why they sucked under Bill Belichick? Yeah, they lost Tom Brady. That was pretty big. They couldn't block and they couldn't tackle. The Lions do the blocking and tackling thing as good as anybody. Watch the receivers block when Jahmyr Gibbs runs the ball and David Montgomery runs the ball. Watch how Amon-Ra St. Brown comes in motion. It doesn't just put his hands on somebody. He gets in on them. Tim Patrick is the newest Lion. He's been here a month and a half. Acquired from Denver. He blocks down the field. Penei Sewell's blocking 6 guys on a play. And yesterday, the Lions kicked the Vikings' ass at times up front with blocking and with tackling. Sure, Aaron Jones broke off that first touchdown run in the first quarter, and the Lions screwed up, and they made a mistake. Terrion Arnold made a mistake on that run play. But they block and tackle so well. Jack Campbell, Brian Branch, some of the guys up front like McNeil and Reeder, they're excellent tacklers. They bring ball carriers down. When the Lions get a hold of the other team's quarterback, they had 4 sacks yesterday. But they bring people to the ground. Trevor Nowaski, last play of the game, Lions getting screwed on that 10-second runoff, brought Darnold to the ground, game over. Gonna get hit, gonna go down. Okay, quote Dan Miller. Trevor Nowaski got him. All right, but he did. Rarely do you see the Lions whiff. Rarely do you see them whiff on a block. I know Awashika struggled yesterday with Kevin Zeitler injured, but for the most part, he bounced back and blocked people. This is what Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes 4 years ago, when they came in here, said they were going to do, and they're doing it. When has that ever happened in this town with this football team? I moved here in August of 96. I remember what Wayne Fonts used to say. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Jim Schwartz, we're going to be tough. Jim Caldwell, we're going to be smart. Steve Mariucci, we're going to have this exotic scheme. Rod Marinelli, what's on the tape? Watch the tape. We're gonna be tough. Bring our lunch pails and our shovels. The shovel is sharp. It was all BS. It was all trash. The Lions were trash for decades. This is the opposite. It's the gold standard. It's how the Arizona Cardinals are trying to build. The Commanders are doing the same thing. The Commanders have Lions brass in their front office trying to build the model, and the model is us. The Lions. The Lions are the effing model. Where am I? What planet is this? Do I need to pinch myself? But it's happening. Peter, what's happening? It's true. I mean, we're in the club with the fam. For all you TikTokers out there, it's happening. 5-1. After Kansas City, it's the Lions. They're the second best team in this league. And yesterday could have been a loss. It could have been, you know what? They're playing Minnesota. Minnesota's good. They are good. Great defensive coordinator, really good head coach. Offense is clicking. They got Justin Jefferson. They got Jordan Addison. They got Aaron Jones. Down 10-0. Hey, you're on the road. All right, you split the road trip. You go to Dallas and win. Nope. No. Lions kept their composure, stayed together, rode the right arm of Jared Goff, who is setting records. We're going to talk about that in a second. Over 140 passer rating in 3 straight games. Only 3 other quarterbacks have ever done that in the league. Dude's killing it right now. Saw Wojo's column in the Detroit News today. Goff for MVP. I know we're only 7 weeks in, but so what? When have we ever talked about a quarterback winning MVP on this team? Multiple years. I know Stafford was good, but not like this. It's impressive. 31-29 yesterday was impressive. You want to get my immediate reaction, go back and check out yesterday's pod, but I wanted to throw that out there and just how well this team is playing right now. And I feel sorry for Tennessee because they're going to get boat raced on Sunday. They suck, and the Lions are focused. And I know that Detroit could be looking ahead to Green Bay the week after. I don't see that happening. I don't. All right. Coming up next, I want to talk about Jared Goff. I want to get the PFF grades for you. James Houston played yesterday. What did PFF think of good old James Houston and his numbers? We will tell you coming up next right here on Locked on Lions, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network for a Monday. And Locked on Lions today is brought to you by and sponsored by BetterHelp. All right. You might be thinking about therapy. You might be thinking about this time of year, which is Halloween, which, hey, let's have some fun, right? With what scares us. But what about those fears that don't involve zombies and ghosts? Therapy is a great tool for facing your fears and finding ways to overcome them. Because sometimes the scariest thing is not facing our fears in the first place and holding ourselves back. Thinking about therapy, just talking to somebody from a neutral perspective. I do it. Check out what BetterHelp has to offer to you. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. You just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Overcome your fears with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/lockedon today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. And Locked on Lions today also brought to you by our friends at Hillsdale College. Time is our most precious commodity. Don't waste it scrolling through the same mind-numbing content for hours and hours on your phone. How can you spend your time wisely to improve yourself? Things like history, economics, the great works of literature, the meaning of the U.S. Constitution. Did you study these things in school? Well, check out what our sponsor, Hillsdale College, is offering. They got more than 40 free, that's right, free online courses, including, like I said, The Great American Story, A Land of Hope, a brand new documentary style course on socialism, Marxism, and communism, Constitution 101, the meaning and history of the Constitution, and so much more. All of Hillsdale's courses are self-paced so that you can start whenever and tune in wherever. Plus, you can go deeper with readings, quizzes, discussions, or you just enjoy the lectures. Go right now to hillsdale.edu/lockedon to enroll. That's no cost, and it's easy to get started. No cost, folks. Hillsdale.edu/lockedon to register. Hillsdale.edu/lockedon. Matt Derry with you, a Monday edition of Locked On Lions PFF grades for yesterday and the win over the Vikings coming up momentarily. Thanks for making us your first listen and checking us out wherever you get your podcast. Think about this for a second here, ladies and gentlemen. Jared Goff, the last 4 games. Goff and the Lions offense has scored more touchdowns, 18 touchdowns in the last 4 games, than Goff has had incompletions, 15. Let me repeat that. In their last 4 games, the Lions have scored more touchdowns, 18, than Goff has had incompletions, 15. That's nearly impossible. That may never happen again. That's how good Jared Goff is playing right now. That's how accurate he is. Minnesota and their defensive coordinator, Brian Flores, sent the kitchen sink at him yesterday with blitz packages, exotic pressures, all of the things you want to say. Yet Goff stood in there and delivered. He didn't have a good start to the year. Struggled against the Rams. Didn't have his best day against Tampa Bay. All right? Mediocre against Arizona. The last 3 weeks, Seattle, Dallas, Minnesota. Good teams, good defenses. All right? They weren't playing Denby or Wayne State. No offense. And he's carving them up. And oh, by the way, I deal in passer rating. You want to know who the best quarterbacks are in the league? You check out where they are when it comes to passer rating. Sure, you like QBR? Great. All right, whatever. I like passer rating. How accurate are they? Completion percentage. All of these things. Jared Goff is number 1. Numero uno in the NFL in passer rating. His rating right now is 111.5. Tops in the league. Better than Joe Burrow, who's off to a good start. Better than Baker Mayfield, who's got the Bucks playing well. Ahead of Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, Sam Darnold. Ahead of Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes' passer rating? Only 82.5. Jared Goff is at 111.5, followed by Burrow at 110.1, and Baker Mayfield at 109.4. He is delivering, ladies and gentlemen, in a big, big way. And some of the throws yesterday, being on time, the deep ball to St. Brown with a hand in his face, moving around the pocket a little bit too. Goff's feeling it. Minnesota blitzed him and tried. And against the blitz, he goes 15 for 16, throwing the football. Oh, but let's give Hendon. No. God love Hendon Hooker. Might be good somewhere someday. Ain't going to be here. Unless, I'm not even going to say it. Jared Goff is playing awesome football. Number 1 in the league in passer rating. So when they talk about MVP candidates, 7-8 weeks in, whatever it is, Jared Goff's got to be up there. Lions are 5-1. Who is most valuable to this team? Yes, Aiden Hutchinson is extremely valuable. And yes, I will say it again. Lions need to make a move before November 5th. But Jared Goff is cooking right now. He's cooking, he's dealing, whatever you want to say. All right, Pro Football Focus grades on a Monday. Let's do the business. Let's start on offense. Top 5 and bottom 5 Lion performers, according to Pro Football Focus, graded out from yesterday's big win on the road in Minnesota. I think the Vikings are sick of the Lions, having now lost 3 in a row to them. Top graded Lions offensive player yesterday was Frank Ragnow at a 90.1. Ragnow is the man. Played all 57 snaps on offense for the Leos yesterday. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 88.9, was number 2. Big game for Amon-Ra yesterday. 8 catches, over 100 yards. Khalif Raymond had a good game, 84.8 grade. 4th was Jahmyr Gibbs. Highlight reel stuff yesterday from Jahmyr, 77.5. He even got a game ball from Dan Campbell in the locker room after the game. So did Jake Bates. Remember, Jake Bates was selling bricks. He was a brick salesman before last summer. Now he's kicking in the NFL and kicking ass. Kicker list, it's gone. Jared Goff, 76.9. He was number 5 on offense yesterday. Those are your top 5 Lion performers on offense. Bottom 5, Graham Glasgow, 43.9. Taylor Decker, we said this yesterday, did not have a good game. Grenard went around him a couple of times. Just a 44.6 for Decker. Coyote Awashika, 45.6, playing right guard for the injured Kevin Zeitler. David Montgomery, 45.9 grade, 4th worst on the offense. Had the big fumble. Brock Wright, 54.0. Those are your top 5 and bottom 5 Lion performers from yesterday's win over the Vikings on offense. On defense, no surprise. Brian Branch, number 1 at 92.7. Think Brad Holmes got a steal in Branch. Thank you, Packers, for trading down and allowing the Lions to move up to 47 or whatever it was 2 years ago in the second round to get Brian Branch. This guy is an absolute maestro out there. Plays the run, plays the pass. He's killer. 92.7 grade for Brian Branch yesterday. Second was Trevor Nowaski, 14 snaps, but an 87.1 grade. He's going to be playing a bigger role. Alex Anzalone, Gaines Media poster boy. Shout out to Robert Banker and the folks at Gaines Media. They love themselves to number 34. He delivered the goods yesterday, 78.2, batting 3rd on our list. 4th was Malcolm Rodriguez, 75.5. He had a good game yesterday. Played 32 snaps. And Jack Campbell, 73.9. 4 of your top 5 line defenders were linebackers. Great work by Kelvin Shepard, linebackers coach. Lions have a great staff. Great, not good, great coaching staff. Bottom 5 Lion performers on defense. DJ Reader, not a good game, 36.9. Amik Robertson, 42.3, was 2nd worst. 3rd worst, Carlton Davis, 46.7, tied with James Houston. Both of them registering 46.7s. And Josh Paschal struggled of 55.2. Highest graded defensive lineman was Mekhi Wingo. Again, Lions need to add Isaiah Thomas, you figure will play this week against Tennessee. So those are your bottom 5 Lion performers from yesterday's win over the Minnesota Vikings. Love winning in the division. Love it. Love it. If you watch the video on the Lions social media and on their website of Dan Campbell, he said it. We're 1-0 in the division, 1-0 in the division on the road. The Lions stress winning this division first and foremost. And you love that. And this division's the best in football. So good start in the division for the Lions. All right. Coming up next, our call of the day here on a Monday. Locked On Lions. Adam Amin, play-by-play man for Fox, was on the call yesterday. Will join us tomorrow. All right, folks, World Series is set. Plus, you got the NFL in with 2 Monday Night Football games tonight. Start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. When you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you want to check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more. You can do that on the same page where you place your bets, and that is FanDuel.com. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet at FanDuel. Go to FanDuel.com right now. FanDuel.com. Go there right now. Dodgers, Yankees World Series starting up later on in the week. Want to put some futures bets down? You think the Dodgers in 6, Yankees in 5, whatever you're thinking. You could do that at FanDuel. I mentioned before, not 1, but 2 Monday Night Football games tonight. Jim Harbaugh, if you're Harbaugh slappy, Chargers and Cardinals tonight is one of the games. Check it all out at FanDuel. FanDuel.com, the official sports betting partner of the Locked On Podcast Network. Folks, you can leave a voicemail right here on this show, and I might play it for you and here on the program at speakpipe.com/dairy podcast page. One of our everydayers checked in on the old SpeakPipe the other day. Now, this was a voicemail that was left before the Lions beat the Vikings, but I want to play it because my guy Caleb really asked a good question, and I wanted to play it. I got caught up last week and did not. So this is from last week before the game, but it still resonates today. Here's Caleb with our call of the day.
Hey, Matt Derry, this is Caleb Annual out here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. How you doing? Long-time listener, first-time SpeakPipe caller, also everyday listener. Hey, listen, question. Do you think if we lose this weekend in Minnesota, that kind of heightens the speed of getting a replacement for Hutchinson? I know that I've heard a lot of people say we're going to wait till the trade deadline to make that decision. But if we lose, and if we lose bad, like we beat Cowboys the other week, if we lose that bad, will that just heighten our speed to go get a defensive end? So that's my question, Matt. Love the show. Love SpeakPipe. In fact, if you just have 1 second, can you give us a shout out over here in Grand Rapids? This is the All Grit podcast. Grit spelled with 2 T's. We just started this season and would love to get a shout out from the one and only Matt Derry. Love you guys. Out.
All right, there's Caleb in Grand Rapids, the All Grit podcast. Check him out. I'm going to have to check that out myself with 2 T's. Like I said, Caleb left that message before the Lions win. He left it Wednesday last week. But here's why I wanted to play it. And first of all, thank you, Caleb. Number one, regardless of win or loss yesterday, the Lions didn't get to the quarterback. I know they had 4 sacks. I know. All right. One of them was a covered sack with Pascal. The other one was Nowaski on the last play of the game when the whole world went down for the Hail Mary. Lions did not get enough pressure on Sam Darnold yesterday. And as we talked about with the PFF grades, none of the edge rushers, Ukwu, James Houston, Pascal, Onwuzurike played some edge. None of them shined yesterday. Darnold had too much time. If the Lions want to beat Green Bay and Green Bay at 425 in 2 weeks, if Jordan Love has that kind of time with those receivers and those tight ends, it's going to be a long day. And yes, the Lions secondary is improved. Yeah, a guy like Terrion Arnold is playing better. The safeties, Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch, they're studs. But you have to get pressure. You lose Aiden Hutchinson, you're losing a lot. All right. We had Ross Tucker on the show last week. He said, I don't think the Lions can win the Super Bowl without Aiden Hutchinson. And yes, there have been reports this week that maybe if the Lions get to a Super Bowl, Hutchinson could play. But right here, right now, I'm telling you, Brad Holmes has to be on the phone with some of these teams that are spiraling out of control. The Jets aren't dead, but at 2-5, if that thing goes really south, call the Jets about some of their edge rushers. I'm not saying Hassan Reddick is coming after all. Regardless, you call Carolina, you call Cleveland, you check in with some of these really bad teams, and you make a deal. You've got to add. I know Agude's on the practice squad. I know they just they just signed Isaiah Thomas, who didn't play yesterday. Uku's a young guy. But this mixing and matching and throwing something against the wall, look, Lions won. But 15 pressures in the game is not enough. You're not going to replace Aiden Hutchinson with anybody, just anybody, unless you get Myles Garrett or you get Max Crosby. And I still don't think that's happening. But you can call the Browns about Zadarius Smith, and he can come in and be a quality starter. So, Caleb, thanks for the question. Thanks to all of you for checking us out here on Monday, Locked On Lions. Back again tomorrow with Adam Amin from Fox. We'll do the crossover on Thursday as well. Victory Monday, folks. 5-1. Enjoy it. Talk to you again tomorrow.